First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Imagine for a second that every room you walk into, every meeting, every social gathering, every conversation is an arena. The energy shifts the moment you enter and everyone subtly reacts to you. What if I told you that the single most powerful way to command that room isn't charisma, charm, or even authority, but something far simpler, far more attainable: self-control? It's true. Master your emotions, your reactions, and your presence, and the room bends around you without a word spoken. You don't need to raise your voice or demand attention. Your calm, measured command is enough to capture respect, influence decisions, and leave a lasting impression. This isn't theory. It's Stoic practice distilled into actionable principles you can use today. In this video, we're breaking down exactly how controlling yourself leads to controlling the energy around you, the subtle shifts in power that most people overlook, and the mindset tweaks that will make you unshakable. Stay with me until the very end, because every insight builds on the last, and by the final tip, you'll see the room and your life from an entirely new perspective. This is more than presence, it's mastery. Number 1, master your emotions before responding. You want to command a room, influence outcomes, and carry an aura of unshakable authority. It begins always with yourself. Before you say a word, before you make a gesture, before you react to anyone or anything, you must first master your own inner world. Emotions, they are like wild horses. Left unchecked, they will throw you off balance, dictate your responses, and reveal more than you ever intended. Anger flares, frustration tightens your chest, fear freezes your mind. These are natural, yes, but they are not your masters. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That means every moment you feel a surge of emotion is your opportunity to choose. Not react, choose, breathe, step back, observe yourself in real time. Identify the impulse racing in your veins before it escapes your lips. This isn't about suppression. Suppression is temporary, a pressure cooker that will eventually blow. It's about mastery. Recognize that emotions are messages, not mandates. They are signals pointing to needs, desires, triggers, vulnerabilities, but they do not have the authority to dictate your actions. You can honor the message without obeying the impulse. When someone provokes you, when criticism lands sharply, when tension fills the room like smoke, you have a choice. Let the fire control you, or let it illuminate your awareness. The latter is what sets the powerful apart. They respond, not react. Their words weigh more because they are filtered through calm clarity, not the chaos of unbridled feeling. Try this as an exercise. The next time you feel irritation rising, pause for a count of 10. Feel it, label it. Say silently, "This is anger, it is not me, it is information." Allow yourself to notice the tightness in your chest, the quickening of your pulse, the thoughts that want to burst out. Do not speak yet. Let the moment breathe, and you will see something remarkable happen. Your power returns. Your voice, your posture, your presence, all regain control as your mind aligns with your will rather than your impulses. Practice this enough, and you will notice that people in your presence lean in, wait for your word, watch your expression, because you have become the calm eye of the storm. And here's the subtle magic. When you respond rather than react, you create space in the room. Space for reason, for influence, for authority. People naturally defer to those who are not enslaved by emotional tides. Your silence, your measured words, your deliberate gestures, they all carry weight because they emerge from someone who is grounded, unshakable. Seneca reminds us, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity with calmness." Calmness isn't passive. It is strategic. It communicates strength without aggression. It communicates presence without arrogance. You do not need to dominate the room with volume or fury. You dominate it with equilibrium, with the mastery of your own inner state. Here's another practical exercise. Before entering any conversation, meeting, or group setting, take a moment to center yourself. Notice your breath. Scan your body for tension. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel? How do I want to show up? This preemptive alignment is a Stoic tool, a way to ensure that external circumstances do not hijack your internal state. By taking ownership of your feelings before others can, you create an invisible armor. And when someone tests that armor, when frustration, fear, or provocation arises, you are not surprised. You are prepared. You choose your response. You decide whether the situation merits your energy, your voice, your reaction. Mastering your emotions also requires reflection after the fact. Each evening, consider your interactions. Did you respond or react? Where did emotion sneak in? Where did calm prevail? This isn't a moment for judgment, but for observation. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That strength grows incrementally, quietly, like a river carving a canyon over centuries. Every controlled breath, every measured pause, every intentional response compounds into a presence that is magnetic, commanding, respected. People feel it before they see it. They sense it in the stillness between your words. Ultimately, mastering your emotions before responding is not a technique, it is a philosophy. It is a daily commitment to self-control, awareness, and intention. It transforms you from a participant in life's chaos to a conductor of its rhythm. You begin to see the power of restraint, the authority of patience, and the influence of presence. And when the room watches you, when tension ripples through the air, when expectations hang like clouds above, you are not moved. You are not shaken. You are the anchor. You are the calm. You are the force people respond to, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. So start now. Feel your impulses, label them, breathe, observe, respond with clarity. Make every word count. Make every gesture deliberate. Build this habit until it becomes instinct. The room will notice. The room will respect. And in mastering yourself first, you control more than conversation. You control the very energy of the space around you. You control the room. Number 2, speak only when necessary and with purpose. Speak only when necessary and with purpose. That is a simple phrase, but its power is monumental. You might think the world values constant noise, endless opinions, and immediate reactions, but the truth is the opposite. The people who command respect, who seem to hold a room in their presence, are not the loudest. They are the measured, the deliberate, the ones who choose their words as if each one carries weight because it does. Every time you open your mouth, you have the chance to influence, to shift perception, to assert control. But every word spoken without thought dilutes your influence. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, let your words be few. That doesn't mean silence for the sake of silence. It means intention. It means choosing impact over impulse. Start noticing how often you speak out of habit, how often your words are filler, noise, a reaction to discomfort rather than a reflection of strategy. This awareness is the first step. When you catch yourself about to speak simply to fill a moment, pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this necessary? Does it add value? If the answer is no, stay silent. That pause, brief, deliberate, signals control. People sense it even if they can't articulate why. There's an authority in restraint. There's a power in knowing that your words are not to be wasted, that each one is a tool, not a reflex. Speaking with purpose transforms your presence. It changes the dynamics of a room. When you finally do speak, it carries weight because others know it's intentional. They lean in. They pay attention. They remember. Compare that to constant chatter, to endless commentary, to the compulsion to respond to everything immediately. That's not influence. That's surrendering control. Every time you resist that urge, you reclaim authority over the space around you. Seneca's wisdom echoes here. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Wasting words is the same. Once said, words cannot be unsaid. They leave a trace, and if they are empty, they leave nothing but distraction. You can practice this skill deliberately. Set moments during your day to observe your speech patterns. Notice when you are reacting versus when you are responding. Reacting is impulsive. It's filling a gap, asserting presence for temporary comfort. Responding is deliberate. It's considering the moment, understanding the room, choosing your contribution with intention. Start small. In meetings, in conversations, in casual chats, try holding back one comment that doesn't serve a purpose. Notice what happens. Often people fill the silence themselves. Often the silence makes your eventual words even sharper, even more respected. Another practical exercise is the 3-second rule. Before speaking, pause for 3 full seconds. Don't plan, don't worry, don't panic. Simply breathe and let intention rise naturally. Ask yourself, am I about to say this because it matters? Am I adding clarity, insight, or value? Or am I speaking because I feel I have to? This tiny pause rewires your impulses over time. It cultivates discipline, and discipline is the root of control, both over yourself and the energy in the room. Remember that speaking with purpose is not about dominance or control for ego's sake. It's about alignment with reality, with reason, with what matters most. As Epictetus teaches, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listening is where control begins. When you speak only after you've understood, after you've absorbed, after you've reflected, your words carry weight far beyond their number. People respect that. They trust that when you do speak, it's meaningful. They stop questioning. They start observing. You can also integrate this into your personal reflections. Each evening, review your day and consider the moments you spoke unnecessarily. No judgment, no guilt, just observation. Write them down. Reflect on how you could have responded differently, how silence or restraint could have changed the impact of your words. Over time, this builds what Stoics call yunga, a cultivated thoughtfulness, a presence that is both serene and commanding. Your words become rare, but when they appear, they resonate. And here's the subtle but crucial point. Speaking less does not mean shrinking your voice. It means enhancing it. It means conserving energy. It means understanding that influence is not measured by frequency, but by effect. The room, the group, the conversation, none of it can control you. Instead, your presence and your words shape perception. When you master this, others begin to self-regulate. They speak less around you, not out of fear, but out of respect. They wait, they listen, they lean in. Finally, make this a daily habit. Begin with conscious pauses, deliberate responses, and mindful reflection. Progress will be slow at first. Your impulses are strong, your old habits persistent. But every intentional pause strengthens your self-mastery. Every deliberate word strengthens your influence. Every unnecessary silence teaches you that control over yourself is control over the room. As Marcus Aurelius said, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Speak less, act with purpose, and watch the world adjust to your quiet power. Number 3, maintain calm under pressure. Your mood sets the tone. You ever notice how one person's mood can ripple through a room like a stone tossed into a pond? That's no coincidence. It's biology, psychology, and a little thing called presence all rolled into one. When you maintain calm under pressure, you're not just preserving your own peace, you're setting the emotional bar for everyone else. Think of it like this. In a tense situation, chaos is contagious, but so is composure. The moment you take a deep breath, steady your tone, and align your movements with calm intent, you're sending a signal to everyone around you that the storm doesn't control you. You're steering it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the essence of controlling the room. You can't always control what's happening, but you can control your reaction, your posture, your energy. Your calm becomes a magnet. People naturally gravitate toward it. They slow down, they listen, they mirror the steadiness you project. Start with small exercises. Before a meeting, pause for 10 seconds. Feel your heartbeat. Observe your breath. Name one tension in your body and release it. Just this tiny act rewires your nervous system, teaching it that you don't collapse under pressure. Practice speaking slowly, even when adrenaline spikes. Watch how your words land differently when delivered with measured calm versus rushed panic. You'll notice the room's rhythm subtly shifting, almost without effort. Next, notice your inner dialogue. Pressure is amplified by a racing mind, by stories you tell yourself about how the situation should be, could be, or might go wrong. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. Start catching your thoughts mid-flight. Question them. Swap "this is unbearable" with "this is a challenge I can navigate." The mood you cultivate internally becomes the aura you radiate externally. The room reacts not just to your words but to the energy underpinning them. There's also the physical element. Your body carries emotion like a carrier pigeon. Straighten your shoulders. Keep your movements deliberate. Avoid fidgeting. Small tremors betray inner turbulence. The Stoics believed that mind and body are intertwined. Control one and the other follows. Each calm gesture, each intentional breath reinforces the narrative that you are in control, and control is contagious. Finally, realize that calm isn't passive. It's a decision, an act of courage, and a tool of influence. When tempers flare or chaos threatens, you are the anchor. You don't need to dominate conversations with volume or force. Instead, your stillness becomes the loudest statement in the room. People feel it. They adjust. Doors open. Conflicts dissolve. Opportunities appear. Your composure is your power because it communicates confidence, resilience, and clarity without a single word. Begin today. Pick one situation where you know pressure will rise. Maybe a call, a meeting, a negotiation. Visualize yourself entering it calm, unshakable, and intentional. Breathe. Stand or sit with awareness. Speak slowly, listen actively, and notice the room subtly bending to your mood. Each time you do this, you build a muscle that no one can see but everyone feels. Over time, it becomes instinct. The room responds before you even speak. This is the Stoic mastery of influence. Control yourself and you control the room. Calm isn't just a state, it's your statement. Your presence becomes your authority, your composure, your currency. And in the subtle, quiet ways it shapes the world around you, it becomes unstoppable. Number 4, observe more than you react. Listen actively. You want to be the person in the room who isn't just reacting, who isn't tossed around by the moods, emotions, or opinions swirling around you. You want to be the one who commands attention, not by shouting, not by gesturing wildly, not by trying to impress, but simply by being fully present, fully aware, fully in control of yourself. That begins with observing more than you react. Take a deep breath and really notice what's happening. Listen, not just with your ears, but with your awareness. Feel the subtle shifts in tone, the quickening of a heartbeat, the pause before a word is spoken. The Stoics knew that our power is in our response, not in the chaos of the moment. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Your first exercise is simple. For the next conversation you have, try this. Listen more than you speak. Count to 3 in your mind before responding. Notice the impulse to interrupt or react and let it pass. Instead, let understanding settle in first. You'll find people lean in unconsciously because they sense you are grounded, calm, and attentive. Your presence becomes magnetic without a word of force. Now push yourself further. Watch the body language, the subtle gestures, the energy in the room. It's easy to miss these details when you're spinning inside your own thoughts, crafting responses before the other person even finishes speaking. Shift that habit. Give yourself permission to be fully here. To listen deeply, actively, ask yourself, am I hearing what is said or am I just preparing to answer? Let the observation itself be your first response. There is immense clarity in silence, in restraint. Silence is not emptiness, it is power in waiting. And when you combine that with acute awareness, you start controlling the room without raising your voice. You start influencing situations not by force, but by presence. Here's another practical exercise. After someone speaks, before you answer, silently summarize what they've said in your mind. Not for judgment, not for rebuttal, but just to understand. Observe the emotional undertone. Notice the words they didn't say. These small acts build your ability to react intentionally, not impulsively. The Stoics taught us that every reaction is a choice. Every response is a chance to act with virtue. When you practice active listening and patient observation, you're no longer merely participating, you are leading. People notice it whether they can articulate why or not. Your calm, deliberate presence becomes your authority. Now, imagine yourself moving through a room, a meeting, or even a casual conversation with this skill sharpened. You notice tension before it erupts. You sense underlying motivations without probing. You hear the true message behind the words. And because you are observing first, reacting second, your words land with precision. You don't need to dominate the conversation with volume or force. Instead, every word carries weight because it is chosen carefully. Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Let this be your mantra. Let it guide your presence in every interaction. Finally, make observation a daily habit. Practice noticing without judgment. In your next conversation, don't just listen. Watch the rhythm, the pauses, the hesitations. In your next meeting, observe the subtle power dynamics without reacting immediately. Make mental notes, but let them sit. This is how you train your mind to respond, not react. The room starts to feel different when you operate this way. You feel centered, grounded. People naturally gravitate toward that energy. Your control is quiet, yet undeniable. And the beauty is, it doesn't require force. It requires attention, awareness, the disciplined choice to observe more than react. Once you make this choice consistently, you begin to realize the full Stoic law in action. When you control yourself, you control the room. Number 5, keep your body language composed and intentional. Think about the last time you walked into a room and felt the energy shift, not because you said anything remarkable, but simply because of how you carried yourself. That's the subtle yet undeniable power of composed body language. You might underestimate it, but every gesture, every posture, every small movement speaks louder than words. The Stoics knew this intuitively. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Your body is that cliff. When you move deliberately, when your posture radiates calm, when your gestures are intentional, people unconsciously pick up on it. They read you before you even speak. Start by noticing your own body right now. Are your shoulders tight? Is your jaw clenched? Are your movements rushed? Begin slowing down. Breathe deeper. Align your spine. Let your chest open, your head lift, your eyes meet the world without anxiety or neediness. Each adjustment is like tuning a musical instrument. You can't force harmony, but you can prepare the environment for it to emerge naturally. Gesture with purpose. A hand placed thoughtfully while explaining something conveys authority. A pause before you speak signals that your words are measured, that your mind isn't cluttered by chaos. Even the way you stand when someone approaches you sends a message. Are you scattered, anxious, reactive, or calm, present, unshakable? When you consciously shape your movements, you take ownership not just of your physical presence, but of the energy in the room. People respond to confidence projected without a single word. You also need to practice stillness. Too often, people fill space with motion, nervous energy, small fidgets that betray insecurity. Stoicism teaches us to master ourselves first. Control your body, control your mind. When you slow your movements, when you ground yourself physically, your mental clarity sharpens. Your mind stops chasing reactions and starts initiating influence. Walk into a conversation like you've been there 1,000 times and nothing can unsettle you. Not because you're indifferent to outcomes, but because you've mastered the internal, silent rhythm that dictates how others perceive you. Another layer of intentionality is spatial awareness. How you occupy space matters. Take up room confidently, but never aggressively. Open stances invite collaboration and respect. Cramped, closed-off postures signal tension or submission. Notice how subtle shifts, A straightened back, a slight step forward, uncrossed arms, alter not just how people see you but how you feel internally. It's a feedback loop. Your composure shapes their reaction, which reinforces your internal calm, which reinforces your composure. It's self-sustaining once you make it conscious. Facial expressions deserve your attention too. The Stoics weren't about stoicism in the cold sense of emotionless masks. They were about mastery. Your face communicates before your mind even speaks. Train it to mirror calm. Not fake calm, not empty neutrality, but a quiet confidence. A relaxed brow, soft eyes, a small but deliberate smile when appropriate. These cues signal control and create trust. People are drawn to those who seem steady because stability feels safe. And safety, subtle as it may seem, is a magnet for influence. Breathing is your secret weapon. When your body moves in rhythm with deep, controlled breaths, tension melts away. Your gestures become smoother, more deliberate. Your pauses longer, more purposeful. Your presence feels anchored. The Stoic exercise of observing your breath before reacting isn't abstract. It directly informs your physical control. Slow your inhalation. Let your exhalation release unnecessary tightness. Feel the difference in your stance. Practice walking or standing while maintaining this rhythmic breathing. Watch how others instinctively adjust to your grounded energy. The final element is micro-intentionality. Every blink, every nod, every subtle lean conveys information. Decide consciously how you want to be perceived. Are you receptive, assertive, curious, confident? Your body can signal all of these simultaneously without ever uttering a word. This isn't about manipulation, it's about alignment. Your internal state should match the external signals. Composed body language is never a mask, it's a mirror of mastery. Stoicism isn't pretending to be calm, it's achieving a calm that becomes visible in every movement. Start small. Choose one gesture, one posture, one element of your body language to refine each day. Stand taller, hold your gaze longer, breathe slower, let your hands move with clarity. Observe how people respond differently. Keep notes if you must. Make adjustments. Repeat. Over time, these small, intentional physical decisions compound. You'll notice a change not just in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. Your presence will fill a room without effort because your body, mind, and energy are aligned. Control of your body is not control for show. It is control that radiates power effortlessly. When you master this, you are no longer at the mercy of external chaos, social manipulation, or reactive impulses. You shape the room with quiet authority. People may not articulate it, but they feel it. That feeling alone can create space for leadership, influence, and respect. The Stoics remind us that mastery begins within. Begin with your body. Stand, move, breathe, gesture, and express with deliberate calm. Say less, do more, and let your presence speak volumes. Your body is the room's first language. Make every word intentional. Make every pause powerful. Make every step an act of mastery. This is the quiet law of Stoic influence. Control yourself, control the room. And once you start practicing it every single day, you'll realize that real power is not loud. It's steady, composed, and unmistakably visible in the way you carry yourself. Number 6, respond. Don't react, pause before action. You want to master the art of influence and presence. Then it starts here, responding instead of reacting. Take a breath and let that sink in. When someone pushes your buttons, challenges your authority, or tries to provoke you, the natural instinct is to snap, to fire back immediately. That's reaction, and reaction is a wild, unbridled animal. It gives away your power before you even realize it. You see, the Stoics knew that control over oneself is the cornerstone of control over the room. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Strength not in your fists, not in your words, but in your pause. That pause is your secret weapon. It's a fraction of a second where chaos meets calculation, where your mind steps ahead of instinct, and suddenly you are no longer a puppet of circumstance. To respond rather than react, you have to practice noticing the storm before it hits. You must become aware of the surge in your chest, the heat in your face, the rapid rhythm of your thoughts. Acknowledge it. Name it. Call it what it is: a reaction, a reflex, not a reasoned choice. When you do this, you create a crack in the automatic response, a tiny doorway through which conscious action can step. It may feel unnatural at first because we are wired to defend, to fire, to mirror the energy thrown at us. But every time you catch yourself in that microsecond before exploding, you are reshaping your mental muscle. You are training the part of you that decides, I will act, I will not be acted upon. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you feel provoked, literally count to 3 before speaking. 1, 2, 3, just 3 seconds. It's short, almost laughably short, but in that small span, your rational mind can reassert itself. You'll find that what felt urgent in the heat of the moment often loses its urgency when examined calmly. You begin to see the unnecessary tension, the pointless drama, the misaligned energy. And once you see it, you are free to choose how to move. Responding also means choosing the form your action takes. You get to decide the tone, the timing, the delivery, and the content. You can diffuse tension with a calm question. You can assert authority with a measured statement. You can demonstrate intelligence, confidence, and composure without ever raising your voice. Reaction, on the other hand, is reckless. Reaction is fuel for chaos. Response is a match you control. It lights what you intend and leaves the rest in darkness. It's easy to underestimate the power of silence in this. Sometimes, responding is simply pausing, holding your tongue, and letting others stumble over their own words. Epictetus reminded us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Notice the distinction. He doesn't say how you respond, he emphasizes that reaction. The raw, uncontrolled response is what strips you of your agency. The moment you pause, you regain that agency. You regain the room. You regain control. Start small if you must. In conversations, in meetings, in minor irritations, practice the pause. With each deliberate breath, you are building a habit of conscious action. Soon it becomes instinct. You no longer feel the tug of immediate retaliation because your mind knows, I am the captain here. That habit grows into a presence that others can't ignore. You carry calm, measured authority like an aura, and the room bends to the rhythm of your self-control. This doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean letting insults or challenges slide unchecked. It means choosing the battle, choosing your words, choosing the moment. The Stoics were masters of this. They moved through life observing, calculating, and acting with purpose. Every gesture, every sentence, every decision was deliberate, and that deliberation is contagious. People respond to your composure with respect, to your calm with deference, to your measured actions with attention. To internalize this, try journaling about your reactions each day. Note moments where you reacted and what the consequences were. Reflect on moments where you paused and responded and how differently things unfolded. Awareness leads to insight, insight leads to discipline, and discipline leads to the quiet, unshakable authority that defines a true master of presence. Remember, responding instead of reacting is more than a technique, it's a philosophy. It's a lens through which you see every encounter. It's a statement. You are not ruled by impulse, you are ruled by choice. And when you live by choice, when you master your mind before acting, the room, the conversation, and even conflict itself become your allies rather than your enemies. You will speak less, but your words will carry weight. You will act with purpose, and people will follow that purpose because it is unmistakable. So start now. The next time tension rises, notice the pull of reaction. Breathe, count, pause, respond with intention. In that pause, you reclaim power. In that response, you command presence. And in that presence, you become unstoppable. This is not a skill you perfect once. It is a lifelong practice, a daily commitment. But every moment you choose response over reaction, you reinforce the Stoic law. Control yourself and the room will follow. Your calm is your leverage. Your pause is your power. and your measured action is the force that moves the world around you quietly, decisively, and without apology. If you commit to this, to the deliberate pause, to the conscious choice, to the measured response, you are no longer merely part of the room, you become its center. And from that center, everything else aligns. Number 7, focus on what you can control, ignore what you can't. You have to understand something fundamental. Most of the stress, frustration, and wasted energy in life comes from obsessing over things you cannot control. It's exhausting, isn't it? You feel pulled in every direction, reacting to the chaos around you, trying to fix the unfixable, wondering why the world isn't bending to your will. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the core of what I want you to feel right now. Power starts within. It starts with acknowledging what is yours to govern, your thoughts, your choices, your actions, and releasing the rest. When you catch yourself spiraling over someone else's opinion, a sudden setback, or the unpredictable whims of life, pause. Ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Don't just let it go politely, mentally unhook from it entirely. Free your mind from the illusion that you need to influence what is beyond your reach. Now, don't get me wrong, focusing on what you can control isn't about being passive. It's not about ignoring challenges or pretending the world doesn't exist. It's about being strategic, about placing your energy where it has impact. Your words, your tone, your patience, your preparation, your effort, these are in your hands always. You can decide how you respond, how you carry yourself, and how consistently you act toward your goals. That's where your authority grows. That's how you control the room. When others see your calm, steady presence, the way you don't flinch or get distracted by every external storm, they start to notice. They unconsciously measure themselves against your poise, your self-command, and they can't help but respect it. Here's a simple exercise for you. Every time you feel tension, frustration, or anxiety, pause and make a mental list. Divide the things on your mind into 2 columns, what you can control and what you can't. Take each item in the first column and ask, what one small action can I take right now? Then act immediately. The items in the second column. Imagine setting them down on a table and walking away. Leave them there. Don't carry them. Don't replay them in your head. Practice this consistently and you'll notice your mind sharpening, your focus intensifying, and your ability to influence situations naturally expanding. The irony is, when you stop trying to control everything else, your influence actually increases. You become the eye of the storm. People gravitate toward your calm. Decisions get easier because your judgment isn't clouded by needless worry about outcomes you cannot dictate. You act with intention rather than reaction. Your words matter more because they are chosen, measured, and impactful. And slowly, power, real power, stops being something you chase. It becomes something that radiates from your presence. Remember, the Stoics didn't live in a vacuum. Life was messy, unpredictable, often cruel. And yet they thrived because they mastered the fundamental principle of agency. Focus on what is yours to govern and let the rest go. Don't just read this and nod. Internalize it, apply it. Start with your morning. Choose what you will control today, your mood, your priorities, your energy. Let everything else slide and notice how much lighter and sharper you feel. Every time you do this, you reclaim a bit more of your life. You reclaim your room, your interactions, your presence. Control over yourself creates control over the space you occupy. People respond to that, consciously or not. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to force it. It's quiet, unshakable authority. That is the Stoic way. That is how you dominate without dominating. That is how you lead without demanding. So start small and start now. Focus on the pulse you can feel inside yourself, your decisions, your actions, your calm, everything else. Release it. Let it float away like leaves on a river. With consistent practice, you'll notice a profound shift. Stress fades, clarity sharpens, influence grows, and peace settles into the spaces you move through. That's the power of mastering your mind, of controlling yourself. The world will always be unpredictable, but you become unshakable. Number 8, lead by example, not by words alone. If you want to truly influence a room, if you want people to naturally look to you, to respect you without you having to demand it, the first rule you must embrace is this: lead by example, not by words alone. Words are cheap. Anyone can speak boldly, proclaim intentions, or offer advice. But words, no matter how eloquent, carry weight only when backed by action. The Stoics understood this intimately. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Your actions, the subtle choices you make under pressure, the calmness you maintain when chaos erupts, these are the true markers of leadership. They silently broadcast your discipline, your character, your control, in a way that no speech, no argument, no loud declaration ever can. Think about it. When someone speaks with confidence but behaves inconsistently, their authority crumbles the moment scrutiny arrives. But when your behavior consistently reflects your principles, when you're calm under stress, your patience with irritation, your integrity in decision-making shine through, you don't need to tell people you're in charge, they feel it. You become a living example, and humans are instinctively wired to follow examples more than instructions. Your control, your composure, your deliberate actions, these become a magnet for attention and respect. Leading by example isn't about perfection. It's about showing consistency in small, intentional ways that ripple outward. It's about holding yourself accountable in moments when no one is watching. The room watches more than you realize. People notice the slight hesitation before you react, the way you maintain your voice and your posture, the choice to respond instead of reacting. These micro behaviors, when repeated over time, establish a silent authority. The power of this is immense. You are no longer trying to impress. You are simply showing what it means to be composed, deliberate, and principled. To embody leadership, start with self-mastery. Your control over your own impulses, your emotions, your attention. This is the first arena of leadership. If you cannot maintain calm, focus, and clarity within yourself, expecting others to follow your guidance is futile. The Stoics remind us that the only thing truly within our control is our own mind, our own actions, our own choices. So start there. Begin with yourself. Observe your impulses. Pause before responding. Ask yourself, is this reaction serving my values? Is it aligned with the example I want to set? These tiny exercises, repeated daily, build the foundation for leadership that speaks louder than words. And then extend that into your interactions. When someone challenges you, when conflict arises, when tension fills the room, your response becomes a demonstration. Instead of reacting with irritation, judgment, or defensiveness, you show patience, reason, and intentionality. Instead of trying to assert dominance through words, you assert it through poise. People absorb this. It's contagious. They start mirroring calm, measured behavior. They start respecting boundaries, acknowledging authority, and even stepping up their own behavior. You lead not because you demand it, but because you model it. Practical exercises can help you embody this principle. Try this. Throughout your day, identify one situation where you normally react impulsively. An irritation, a sudden disruption, a disagreement. Before responding, take 3 deliberate breaths, pause, and consciously choose a response that reflects calm, integrity, and composure. Over time, this rewires your default behavior. You are no longer a reactive participant. You become a deliberate leader, and this shift is felt by everyone around you. Another exercise: set a standard for your daily habits that reflects discipline, perhaps waking up consistently early, journaling your intentions, or completing small commitments before addressing larger tasks. These actions, though seemingly private, radiate outward. People notice consistency, they sense discipline, and this silent modeling draws respect. It's also important to remember that leading by example is about authenticity, not performance. People can detect when behavior is contrived or performative. The Stoics emphasized virtue over appearance. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Your leadership is most powerful when it's a natural extension of your character, not a theatrical display designed to impress. Strive to internalize principles, not showcase them. Your actions, grounded in virtue, will automatically guide others. There's a subtle yet profound difference between being loud and being influential. Loudness demands attention. Influence earns it. Words can tell people what to do. Actions show them what is possible. Actions convey confidence without needing explanation. They demonstrate courage, patience, discipline, and ethical standards. And when people see these qualities consistently, they instinctively gravitate toward you, they respect your authority, they adjust their own behavior in alignment with yours. You do not have to remind them who you are. You reveal it through what you consistently do. Remember, leadership by example is not instantaneous. It is cumulative. Every small choice, every moment of self-control, every deliberate act reinforces your influence. It compounds silently, gradually shaping how others perceive and respond to you. Leadership becomes less about assertion and more about presence. You are no longer negotiating respect through words or trying to control outcomes externally. Instead, your behavior speaks, your discipline communicates, and your calm authority sets the tone for everyone around you. Finally, embrace patience in this process. The Stoics teach us that virtue is a daily practice, a long-term cultivation. Your example does not need immediate recognition. Influence built on action is durable. It endures scrutiny, time, and change. Speak less, act intentionally, and let the room adjust itself around your consistency. Control yourself, control your reactions, control your behavior, and in doing so, you naturally control the room. You do not have to demand attention, manipulate outcomes, or force compliance. Your calm, disciplined presence is sufficient. You lead without saying much at all, and that is the kind of leadership that lasts, that commands, and that inspires. When you make this a habit, when you internalize leading by example, you unlock a quiet, unshakable power. You become someone whose influence is felt before a word is spoken. You become the standard others look to unconsciously. And as a Stoic would remind you, the most profound form of power is the one exercised without spectacle, without desperation, but with quiet, unwavering consistency. Lead by example, and the room will follow, not because you told it to, but because you showed it the way. Number 9, detach from the need for approval or validation. Let's talk about something that's deceptively simple but transforms everything: detaching from the need for approval or validation. I know, it sounds like one of those abstract Stoic mantras that's easy to nod at but hard to live. But here's the truth. The moment you stop craving other people's nods, their likes, their pats on the back, that's the moment you start to truly control your presence in any room. Because influence, true influence, doesn't come from bending, molding, or performing for others. It comes from being grounded, calm, and unwavering, regardless of whether anyone notices. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Your poverty isn't about money, it's about attention, approval, the invisible chains of others' opinions. You've been carrying that weight unnecessarily. Imagine for a moment that every glance, every comment, every judgment is irrelevant to your inner compass. That's not arrogance, it's clarity. When you detach from approval, you stop reacting. You stop calculating what to say, how to look, or how to fit into the invisible molds others expect. You speak less, move less, yet your impact grows. The paradox is beautiful. The less you try to impress, the more people respect the quiet authority you radiate. That's not luck, that's deliberate mastery of self, and self is the only thing you can truly control. Start practicing this now. Today, notice when your thoughts drift toward, "Will they like me?" Or "What will they think?" Catch yourself. Pause. Breathe. Remind yourself that their approval is not a requirement for your value. You are already enough as you are, with all your edges, all your quirks, all your imperfections. Each time you resist the pull of validation, you reclaim a little more power, a little more presence. Over time, this accumulates. You're no longer a performer on a stage of others' expectations. You're a force who moves with purpose, measured, calm, and unshakable. Here's a practical exercise. Pick one interaction today where you usually seek affirmation: a meeting, a conversation, a social exchange. This time, commit to observing your impulse to gain approval and consciously step back from it. Let your words flow from truth, not from the hope of being liked. Let your actions be deliberate, not performative. Notice the difference in energy. Feel the shift in how people respond, not because you're trying harder, but because your calm self-possession naturally commands attention. This is the essence of Stoic presence. When you detach from validation, you stop giving your power away. Others may chatter, judge, or even doubt you, but it doesn't touch you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Let that sink in. You control the room the moment you control yourself. The room becomes irrelevant in its noise. Your focus is your anchor, your poise your statement. Every glance, every opinion, every murmured judgment from others becomes just background, white noise that no longer disturbs the calm authority you cultivate. Do this consistently and watch how the dynamics shift. You'll notice it in subtle ways first. Fewer people try to dominate your attention. More people listen when you speak. More respect is naturally extended without you having to chase it. That's because the need for approval is the currency of weakness, and detachment is the coin of genuine authority. You stop trading yourself for fleeting praise, and in return, you command presence effortlessly. You don't need to push, to perform, or to prove. You simply exist in alignment with yourself, and that alone radiates influence. Another exercise: when you feel the urge to seek affirmation, write down why you want it. Is it fear, loneliness, habit? Then challenge it with a counter-statement rooted in self-possession. I am complete without their approval. My value is inherent, not conferred. Repeat this silently whenever the pull comes. Over time, the habit of self-validation rewires your reactions. You'll start to notice your energy shifting. Less tension, less anxiety, more presence. You'll command attention not because you demand it, but because you refuse to be distracted by approval. Remember, detachment is not coldness. It's not disengagement or indifference to people. It's freedom. Freedom from the chains of external judgment. Freedom to act with intention, speak with clarity, and move with confidence. It's the difference between reacting to the room and controlling your room. Each moment you resist the pull of approval, you grow more resilient, more grounded, more influential. This is the Stoic way. Control yourself first, and the rest, the respect, the authority, the presence, follows naturally. So start small, but start now. Notice the cravings, question them, and deliberately choose self-possession. Say what you mean, act with purpose, and let others' opinions float by like leaves on a stream. Your inner authority is the magnet that shapes the room. Detach from approval, anchor yourself in clarity, and watch how effortlessly you command presence. This is your path to true power, not loud, not showy, but quiet, steady, and undeniably yours. You want me to expand this into a full 2,000-word version with more exercises and mindset shifts, so it hits maximum impact for readers. Number 10, let your consistency and integrity command respect. You want respect? Then understand this. Respect isn't something you demand. It isn't earned with noise, with flashy gestures, or by trying to impress the room. True respect, the kind that lingers even when you're silent, comes from something far more subtle, far more powerful: consistency and integrity. When you live in a way that aligns your actions with your values, when your word is your bond and your behavior doesn't bend to the whims of opinion or circumstance, people notice. They may not clap, they may not cheer, but they feel it, they recognize it. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That's the essence of integrity. It's not theoretical. It's not about appearances. It's about doing what is right, even when no one is watching, even when the world would rather you compromise. Consistency works hand in hand with integrity. When your behavior is steady, predictable in its moral center, people begin to trust you instinctively. They sense that your reactions aren't dictated by convenience or fear or manipulation. They are dictated by principle. Think about it. How often do you see someone who is erratic, inconsistent, bending with the wind, and yet commanding lasting respect? Rarely. The room feels uneasy around unpredictability, but a person who consistently speaks and acts in line with their principles, there is a magnetism there. There is power, and you can cultivate it. Start small. Notice the promises you make to yourself and others. Keep them, even the little ones. If you say you will do something, do it. If you commit to a value, live it, day after day, in the mundane and the overlooked moments. That is the bedrock of consistency. When you practice this relentlessly, the external world has no choice but to align with the energy you carry. People begin to respect not because you shouted for it, but because you simply embody it. You become a living example of integrity, and nothing commands respect more than someone who cannot be swayed by convenience or fear or fleeting trends. This isn't theoretical. It requires effort. It requires mindfulness. Begin by reflecting at the end of each day. Did my actions today match my values? Did I uphold my principles even when it was difficult? Did I stay steady when provoked, patient when frustrated, and calm when everything around me was chaos? Make this reflection habitual. It trains you to notice moments where integrity could be compromised and to correct yourself before your inconsistency even takes root. The Stoics believed in this practice. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end," reminding you that each day is a chance to reset, to align, to solidify your character through repeated, conscious action. Remember, consistency doesn't mean rigidity. It doesn't mean a robotic adherence to routine without thought. It means grounding yourself in principles that are flexible enough to guide you in a variety of circumstances, yet solid enough to prevent you from bending for every passing impulse. Integrity and consistency are like twin pillars. They support each other. Your integrity gives meaning to your consistency, and your consistency amplifies the credibility of your integrity. People may test you, challenge you, even attempt to undermine you. When you remain steady, you signal quietly but unmistakably. You are not someone to manipulate or dismiss. Your respect isn't negotiable because it isn't granted externally, it radiates from who you are. Practically, start by identifying the principles that define you. Write them down, hold them as non-negotiables. Then observe your daily actions. Do they match these principles? When they do, acknowledge yourself. When they don't, course correct immediately. Practice this daily. Over time, the room begins to feel your presence differently. Your words carry weight because they align with the authority of your actions. Your silence carries weight because it comes from someone who does not need to fill space to assert control. The combination of integrity, repeated through consistent action, is magnetic. Here's the hidden truth. Most people underestimate the power of quiet constancy. They chase attention, they seek applause, they try to dominate conversations or manipulate perception. But if you choose the path of consistency and integrity, you bypass the noise. People watch, they learn, they follow, and most importantly, they respect. Not out of fear, not out of obligation, but because they recognize that your life is whole, that your actions match your words, that your presence is the embodiment of principles lived fully. Finally, challenge yourself daily. Ask, am I steady when tested? Am I aligned with my values in private as I am in public? Am I reliable, dependable, principled, and unwavering? Practice patience when others doubt you, courage when it's easier to compromise, and humility when you're tempted by ego. The Stoics teach that mastery of oneself is the highest form of power. When you control your impulses, your words, your actions, you control the room without demanding it. Your consistency and integrity become your authority, your leverage, your silent law of power. And that is how you command respect, not through domination, but through the quiet, unwavering presence of a life lived rightly. This is not a goal you achieve overnight. It's cultivated, repeated, and refined with daily commitment. But if you take it seriously, if you internalize it, if you act on it relentlessly, you will notice the difference. People will feel it. They will respond to it. They will respect it. You will hold a power that doesn't need to shout, that doesn't need to prove itself, because the truth of who you are will speak volumes on its own. Remember, true power never comes from shouting the loudest or forcing others to follow your lead. It comes from mastering the one thing that truly matters, you. When you control your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, you don't just navigate a room, you own it. The Stoics knew this centuries ago, and their wisdom still holds. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. Every pause before you speak, every calm breath in a tense moment, every choice to respond instead of react, these are your tools. So, as you step out of this video and back into the world, carry that calm authority with you. Practice it relentlessly. Own your space without demanding it. Influence without needing approval. Control yourself and watch how the room bends naturally to your presence. Your power isn't loud, it's unshakable.